Joining me now at Freedom Fest is Sir John Browne. I say Sir because he's a former member of the English Parliament who worked alongside Margaret Thatcher. He's also the author of The Hidden Account of the Romanovs. Sir John Browne, thank you so much for being with us.
Daniela, it's a wonderful privilege to be back again.
Well, thank
and
you.
on such a wonderful occasion as Freedom Fest.
Why, thank you. And I love hearing that British accent. Now, last year when you were on, I remember your statement that the middle class was just being crushed, and you felt the only way they could protect themselves was through metals. How do you see it 1 year later?
Well, the middle class is continuing to be crushed, and it's going to become more and more evident as Obamacare comes in with 20 new taxes. Those people who are rich enough to own assets, like real estate, stocks, bonds, gold, things like that, they're doing very well because all these financial markets, financial asset markets are booming, and so they're doing well. It's the ordinary folk that are being crushed, people that rely on their salaries or their wages and things like that. Even those who've saved some money and they're frightened to put it into stocks and bonds, so they put it in the bank. I mean, if the real inflation rate as opposed to the official inflation rate is 5%, they're losing 6.5% a year in the bank. And so I feel the same. Now, you may say, well, of course, John, precious metals haven't done much in the last year. They've hovered around 12 to 1300 an ounce for gold, for example, and around the 20 mark for silver. Well, of course, you have to remember that all these markets are manipulated.
We'll get into manipulation in a second, the topic of manipulation. But first, let's just stay on the middle class here. So how can they get into metals, though? For example, gold right now is $1,300 an ounce. So they might say to you, well, how can I invest in metals if I have all these other expenses?
Well, in this manipulated market in which the central banks are, in their stated aim is to demonetize gold, so they have that aim to make it volatile in price, to discourage people investing in it. It's not really a great investment. You should accumulate gold, not invest in gold expecting a return, but accumulate gold as an insurance. Every portfolio should have an insurance policy, like you pay fire insurance on your house or your motor car accident insurance. It's money down the drain, and you hope you won't claim, but my gosh, if there's a fire, jolly glad you paid. And it's the same with gold.
Now, let's talk about the gold and silver fix. Silver fix will no longer exist as of August 15th. The gold fix is being investigated. Have you been following this saga?
Yes, I mean, I was in the London market myself years ago. And fix is a very interesting word. They both are fixes, and they're part of the fixed price of these things, and the inner network dealing and the outer network not knowing what's going on. It basically insider trading, and it's done on a massive scale by central banks. I mean, you're talking about billions, not just the odd million.
Are you optimistic that the truth will ever come out? You feel that there is gold and silver suppression?
Oh, yes. I mean, the big question to me, like this year, China has imported less gold. It's now the largest gold producer in the world. But last year, in addition to being the largest producer, China imported more gold than was produced in the rest of the world. So you have to ask yourself, where did that gold come from? I believe it came from central banks. And when America says it's got 8,300 tons of gold in Fort Knox, most of which was confiscated off American citizens in 1933, the question is, it may have that gold, but who owns it? Has it been leased out or sold to other people but still staying there? For example, last year, at the beginning of last year, after the German general elections, the German government asked for 300 metric tons of its gold back. By the end of 2013, it had 5 tons given back. Now, suddenly, Germany has said, oh, well, we'll leave the gold in Fort Knox. It all sounds very suspicious to me.
It's interesting that you bring up the Germany situation, wanting their gold back. Many would say, well, it was just a simple handshake between the U.S. and Germany, and there's nothing suspicious that it takes 7 years to get the gold back. But you say, absolutely not.
Well, I mean, if I had gold, and this is not you or me asking for gold, we're pushed aside as small fry. When a central bank, the most powerful central bank probably in the world, although not recognized as such, Britain and America have no money. It's all borrowed or printed. Germany has real money, and it asks for just some of its gold back, and then is told to have to wait 7 years, and after the first year they've delivered 5 tons out of 300 tons. I mean, why shouldn't Germany have its gold sitting in its own central bank when there's such a lack of trust amongst the central bankers and the gold fix? Great word.
Now, there's such an incredible vibe here at Freedom Fest. You're a speaker at the conference. Do you think that there's more optimism this year for the U.S.?
Yes, I think people are feeling that the economy is turning, and I think it is. I think the figures are, although they're cooked, the unemployment figures, the inflation figure, and the GDP figure are cooked. Fact is, I think people are feeling better. But of course, the problem is they're feeling better on borrowed money and printed money. And I just don't see that sort of a condition can end well.
Now, before I let you go, you obviously like gold. Any other investments that you like right now?
And I think people, big investors, should look to own whole companies, not just the shares, which can be so influenced by markets and interest rates and everything else. If you're in a company, in an essential business like food, energy, water, that sort of transportation, those sorts of things which have to go on, then I think owning the entire company rather than just shares in it is the real search for value.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and I love when you say the word jolly. Thank you so much, Sir John Browne.
Thank you, Donella. Thank you, Donella. Thank you.
Thanks for watching our coverage here at Freedom Fest. We'll have more for you throughout the day. You can email us at newsfeedback@kitco.com.